Good morning, Oaks. I hope you're all feeling very well. I want to say a big thank you once again for all of your hard work you've been completing last week and yesterday. It really does make my day when I come onto Class Dojo and see your photos, your videos, hear your reading. You are doing a really, really wonderful job, so thank you very much. I thought I would spend some time this morning reading the next part of our book for you, which was Esio, Trot. Can you remember what happened last time? Last time we met Mr. Hoppy, who lived in an apartment block, and he had two loves in his life, and one of them, hopefully you remember, was Mrs. Silver. But Mrs. Silver, her love was actually a tortoise. And we'll see what happens next as we read a few more pages. Now then, we come to a certain bright morning in May when something happened that changed and indeed electrified Mr. Hoppy's life. He was leaning over his balcony rail, watching Mrs. Silver serving Alfie his breakfast. "Here's the heart of the lettuce for you, my lovely," she was saying. "And here's a slice of fresh tomato, and a piece of crispy celery." "Good morning, Mrs. Silver," Mr. Hoppy said. "Alfie's looking very well this morning." "Isn't he gorgeous?" Mrs. Silver said, looking up and beaming at him. "Absolutely gorgeous," Mr. Hoppy said, not meaning it. And now, as he looked down at Mrs. Silver's smiling face gazing up into his own, he thought for the 1000th time how pretty she was, how sweet and gentle and full of kindness, and his heart ached with love. "I do so wish he would grow a little faster," Mrs. Silver was saying. "Every spring, when he wakes up from his winter sleep, I weigh him on the kitchen scales. And do you know that in all the 11 years I've had him, he's not gained more than 3 ounces? That's almost nothing." "What does he weigh now?" Mr. Hoppy asked her. "Just 13 ounces," Mrs. Silver answered. "About as much as a grapefruit." "Yes, well, tortoises are very slow growers," Mr. Hoppy said solemnly. "But they can live for 100 years." "I know that," Mrs. Silver said. "But I do so wish he would grow just a little bit bigger. He's such a tiny wee fellow." "He seems just fine as he is," Mr. Hoppy said. "No, he's not just fine," Mrs. Silver cried. "Try to think how miserable it must make him feel to be so titchy. Everyone wants to grow up." "You really would love him to grow bigger, wouldn't you?" Mr. Hoppy said. And even as he said it, his mind suddenly went click, and an amazing idea came rushing into his head. "Of course I would," Mrs. Silver cried. "I'd give anything to make it happen. Why, I've seen pictures of giant tortoises that are so huge people can ride on their backs. If Alfie were to see those, he would turn green with envy." Mr. Hoppy's mind was spinning like a flywheel. Here, surely, was his big chance. "Grab it," he told himself. "Grab it quick." "Mrs. Silver," he said, "I do actually happen to know how to make tortoises grow faster, if that's really what you want." "You do?" she cried. "Oh, please tell me. Am I feeding him the wrong things?" "I worked in North Africa once," Mr. Hoppy said. "That's where all these tortoises in England come from, and a Bedouin tribesman told me the secret." "Tell me," cried Mrs. Silver. "I beg you to tell me, Mr. Hoppy. I will be your slave for life." When he heard the words, "your slave for life," a little shiver of excitement swept through Mr. Hoppy. "Wait there," he said. "I'll have to go in and write something down for you." In a couple of minutes, Mr. Hoppy was back on the balcony with a sheet of paper in his hand. "I'm going to lower it to you on a bit of string," he said, "or it might blow away. Here it comes." Mrs. Silver caught the paper and held it up in front of her, and this is what she read: "Esio Trot, Esio Trot, Teg regib, regib. Emok no, Esio Trot. Wag poo, fup poo, tooth poo, gnibs poo, wolb poo, loose poo, eggrog, elzug, futs, plug. Top no taff, Esio Trot, top no taff. Teg no, elbog doof. What does it mean? She asked. Is it another language? And I'm going to stop there, class. And I'd like you to have a think. What does that mean? I don't think I've ever read anything like that before in my life. If you think you've got an idea, you could always send it to me in a message or on your portfolio. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to come up with another idea for you so we can have a good catch up. So keep your eyes peeled on Class Dojo today, and I'll be sending out something else later that we can do tomorrow, which I'm quite excited about trying. I hope you'll have a wonderful day. Speak to you soon. Bye for now, Oaks.